Hello everyone, welcome to another video for the One Piece trading card game. In this video, we will be reviewing another leader from the second set, the Paramount War, Edward Newgate. Let's begin. Edward Newgate is a special attribute, the Four Emperors and Whitebeard Pirates traits leader. He has the ability, at the end of your turn, add one card from the top of your life area to your hand. Edward Newgate is a special leader. Even though he's mono red, he has 6,000 power and starts with 6 life, which is different from all other monocolor leaders in the game. Edward Newgate is one of those leaders that every card game has. A leader that seemingly has an insane upside, but has a pretty drastic downside. Thankfully for Edward Newgate, they thought about this. A lot of his cards want him to be at 2 or less life to get a bonus effect, and he has a few cards that can prevent him from taking damage. This is great. A leader with a good upside that can prevent his downside. Although there are a few issues. In the early game, he does get a lot of card advantage, but that does mean he's going to be at a pretty low life total. Even though you have a lot of protection, you have stuff like Marco to be a recurable blocker, and you have some good rush threats that can end the game pretty early. It's really a race against the clock for you, because at some point you won't have a way to prevent yourself from taking damage, and you'll go to 0, and your opponent will just swing all out and try to kill you, and a lot of the time it's going to work, since you're going to be at a very low life total from this ability. There are cards that can prevent you from taking damage, but one of them is an event and the other is a 9-cost card. So it's going to be pretty difficult to prevent this effect from happening. Although if you can win the game fast enough, it won't really matter. And I think that's what you're going to be trying to do. Even though a lot of the cards he should be playing all are Whitebeard Pirate synergies, so he doesn't really have room for a lot of those early cheap rush threats. He does have some of his own that benefit from his own effects, and we're playing those instead of the others because I think it's more important to capitalize on Newgate's ability than just playing him as a 6k, because playing him as a 6k can get very dangerous and could cause you to lose a lot of games if you don't play it properly. Next is going to be the example deck for Edward Newgate. This deck is 3 Otama, 4 Blenheim, 4 Rakuyo, 4 Vista, 4 Jozu, 4 Marco, 4 Portgas the Ace, 4 Edward Newgate, 3 Radical Beam, 4 You May Be a Fool But I Still Love You, 4 Seaquake, 4 Whitebeard Pirates, and 4 Moby Dick. As you can see, this deck has a lot of Whitebeard Pirates, pretty much all of them, but that's because of the insane synergy with cards Moby Dick and Rakuyo. These cards increase the power on your Whitebeard Pirates, and since they're all pretty big bodies already, they're going to be swinging in for a lot, making them very hard to stop. Although there are some not Whitebeard Pirates in this deck, Otama and Radical Beam. Otama has some great synergy since a lot of your cards KO characters with 3,000 power or less, and Radical Beam is a great 1-cost counter since you're going to be at a low life total pretty much the whole game. Some of the other specific cards, Marco is a great blocker who has a lot of good recursion. He's pretty important because we are on 4 copies of Moby Dick, so we can easily discard extra copies to bring back Marco. We also have You May Be a Fool But I Still Love You as one of our ways to prevent taking damage. It is an activate main with, if you're at 3 or less life, you cannot add life cards to your hand during your own turn from your own effects. What this means is that whenever we go to our end step, Edward Newgate will trigger, but since we have this effect up, we won't be able to add a life to our hand, extending our game by an extra turn, hopefully. Some of our big endgame threats are Ace and Newgate. Ace is a good 7 cost 7k that can gain Rush if our leader is Whitebeard Pirate's trait, which he is. And Newgate himself is a 9 mana 10k that has some good removal when he attacks and can make our leader bigger and is our other prevention effect for adding life to our hand. And all, I think this is a pretty strong deck, but there are some cards that might be a little weak. I think Blenheim is not as good, but he is good enough since he is a Whitebeard Pirate to play. And maybe you could go down on a few of the event numbers. Maybe you could go down a Seaquake, or you may be a Fool for something else, but I think this is a good baseline for a Edward Newgate deck. I don't really have much to say for this outro, so I hope you had a good day. If you're watching this early in the morning, I hope you'll have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.